Hi girls and guys, it's Mr. Tracky and we're on the right track. Welcome to another episode of my specialist guide for the specialists in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. Today we are going to cover Recon, and I'm basically going to give you a better idea about his specialist ability, his specialist equipment, and by the end of the video you should be better placed to see how you should use Recon. So Recon's specialist ability is the vision pulse. This will send out a pulse across the map which will highlight the enemies for yourself but your teammates also. It won't highlight enemies that are using cold-blooded. And then you have the sensor dart, which is basically a small radius type of UAV. So let's learn more about his actual abilities. So first off, we're going to cover the sensor dart. Off the bat, your first sensor dart will take around 45 seconds to charge, and then anytime after that it will just over 90 seconds for your dart to charge. Now these darts are very effective, but they're even more effective with great placement. Now I tend to shoot them higher up in the map, on buildings, on the side of roofs, where they're less likely to be seen by people who are not using engineer. These will be highlighted by engineer, and they also emit a noise every few seconds, so people will look around for these. But if you place them on roofs and ceilings and stuff like that, in very hard places to shoot down without engineer, then you'll often be able to pick people off who are searching for them because they're so busy looking up in the sky trying to find them, that you'll get yourself pretty much a free kill. Now the darts only last for 20 seconds, so it is in your best interest to place these in situations where you're away from yourself, nearer to the enemy spawn. I tend to place them where none of my teammates are on my HUD. This is usually the place where you'll get enemies coming from, or if you suspect there's a door in front of you or something like that where you're not quite sure, and you're not quite sure you want to go around that corner yet because you're on your streaks, send a sensor dart out to do your work for you and get a clearer picture of whether there are any enemies over there. Now I have tested out Ghost, I've tested out Cold-Blooded and TACMAS, and it doesn't seem as if any of these things will counter the sensor dart, and that's probably why it only lasts for 20 seconds, because if it lasted any longer it'd probably be considered quite overpowered. As you can see there, I've placed that dart in quite an awkward position. It'd be very difficult for that to be shot out by an enemy. In fact, it's on the other side of the wall and they've spawned on the adjacent side, so plenty of assist points. You'll get 10 assist points for any of your teammates, beg your pardon, killing any of the enemies, and you will get 115 points per kill that you kill within your sensor dart radius. So anyone that you pick up on the sensor dart and you kill, you will get 115 points for that particular kill, so extra 15 points basically. Now it does seem to me that there is a bit, I don't know if this is meant to happen, but when your sensor dart times out and it runs out of time, it will explode, but you'll get a message by the commentator often saying that the enemy has destroyed your sensor dart. Now I went into a custom game, popped a sensor dart when I was doing my testing to find out how long it lasts for, the 45 and the 90 plus seconds. There was nobody in the game other than myself, and it still announced that the enemy has destroyed my sensor dart. Now me personally, this is something that I disagree with, and I believe Treyarch should fix, because it leaves you with the impression that enemies are in close proximity to yourself. So guys, I'm here to tell you now that often enough you'll hear the announcer say that the enemy has destroyed your sensor dart, and it's not actually true. It's just run out of time and exploded. So don't be too alarmed. I'm not saying that enemies are not going to be in your vicinity, however it is much more likely that they are not around your vicinity and it's just blew up and it's run out of time. So just please note that. So now we've got the sensor dart out of the way, let's speak a bit more about the bread and butter of Recon, which is his vision pulse. Now if you played Black Ops 3 to any extent, then you will realize this was Sparrow's specialist ability, so you'll be very familiar with the vision pulse. But for those of you who are new to Call of Duty, who have never used vision pulse before, it effectively sends out a pulse across the map, and anyone it touches that isn't using cold-blooded, it will illuminate them bright red, and then they will turn into a silhouette which can be seen through walls. It's very, very powerful, very, very effective. And the great added bonus for this is that it actually works for your teammates also, so your entire team will get to use this specialist ability. Because of this very reason, you'll only really get it once a game. Even with the equipment charge, you'll just about get it twice if you're very lucky in a traditional TDM game mode. It's very powerful, so I can see why Treyarch have balanced this in the way they do. For any person that you kill whilst vision pulsed, you will get 115 points. For any teammates, they will get 10 points for you for an assist, and you will get additional 10 points every time you vision pulse someone. The vision pulse itself will last for 15 seconds, and in that 15 seconds it will pulse 3 times across the map. Every 5 seconds this will happen, and basically if you're playing TDM and there's 6 enemies on the map alive, you will get 60 points for every time that vision pulses across the map. So effectively you will earn yourself 180 points towards your score streaks if you successfully vision pulse all your enemies with each individual pulse across the map. So very, very effective specialist ability, and obviously this is going to highlight their exact location also, again, if they're not using cold-blooded. Now when I use Recon, I tend not to bother with a UAV. Now, as I've told you, around every 90 seconds after the initial 45 seconds, you will replenish your sensor dart. This will happen even quicker, 30% quicker, if you equipped the equipment charge. Now, this should negate you having to use a UAV if you place your sensor darts smartly, like I've said. Try and place them in high traffic areas where you know the enemy is likely to take that route in that particular map. Especially when you're using your vision pulse, you can pop one out when you know your vision pulse is about to run out, just to get more intel on that particular area that you're in. And it should negate you having to use a UAV, because you're going to get them every 90 seconds or so. Then you can put out a much more powerful streak loadout. Here I'm using the Hellstorm, the Sniper Nest, and then the Strike Team, and as you saw throughout this footage, I've had no problem obtaining them. That's the type of placement I'm talking about when I say place your sensor darts in positions which makes them very hard to shoot down. People will listen out for that noise that it emits when it is going off, and if they're not using engineer, believe me, they're going to be sitting ducks in the end. In terms of my street loadout, as I've said previously, I've managed to obtain all of mine in this particular game because I've got good intel, and the vision pulse is just such a powerful tool in terms of getting you points together. So in terms of my loadout, this is what I was using, and it's what I like to use when I play with Recon. We are using the Vapor, as I call it, the VAPR XKG, which is a melt machine if you get it right. In terms of attachments, I like to use the ELO sight because I'm not really happy with the iron sight on this gun. I wish it had a better iron sight, and then I'll be able to just shred with it with another attachment. I use the suppressor on this weapon with the likes of fast mags just to reload quickly, because it has got a really fast fire rate. And then I use high caliber. Now if you didn't know, this is one of the fastest killing guns in terms of time to kill in the game when you use high caliber. Obviously you'll get about a 10% reduction in the distance that you can kill people with the suppressor on. If you want to attach long barrel and you feel quite confident in your reloading, then that is perfectly fine and up to you. That is dandy. But for me, as I've stated before in my Titan video, I find that you're so often struggling to reload in this game because you've got to heal as well, and you just get ganged upon with so many enemies that it's essential to have fast mags on weapons that will allow you to equip that. In terms of gear, I'm using the Cosmec device or Comsec, or well, I keep getting this mixed up, I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's hardline in terms of gear. That's what I use to help me obtain my streaks. And in terms of the perks, I am using Scavenger, Gung Ho, so I can reload faster but still move at the same time. And then I use Dead Silence. As you know, that is my go-to perk, the first one I attach. So guys, that's the end of my recon guide. Let me know down in the comment section if you found this video helpful. Really appreciate it, guys, and I really appreciate the immense support on the channel that you've been showing for the last week or so. Guys, there are many buttons you could hit, but the like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.